My name's Madison. I just wanted to share my story to hopefully help open some people's eyes to how COVID is affecting every situation right now. So, a week ago, I found myself in excruciating pain, but I had just been in the sun for hours, so I actually thought it was like something to do with heat stroke. So, I kind of downplayed it. After a few hours, I ended up needing to call an ambulance because I was in so much pain that I was actually sick now. They took me to the hospital they at first took me to the hospital. Being vaccinated and being in an area that is incredibly unvaccinated, I was very scared to be in this hospital. As soon as my symptoms felt better, I asked to be discharged. I have had bad experiences at this hospital, and then adding COVID, I was incredibly worried. So they had me sign a waiver and I was released. About 5 hours later, I found myself in the exact same amount of pain. Obviously, everything that they had given me had worn off. I was, again, too afraid to go back to the hospital to be around these people that don't care about other people's health. And I'm talking about anti-vaxxers. So I sat at home for a full day. And then Tuesday morning, I finally went and saw a doctor who said, your appendix is acting up, you need to go to the hospital. So I immediately went. They had a CAT scan ordered ready for me from this doctor, and sure enough, I needed emergency surgery. And that's not, like it's an appendicitis. It happens to millions of people. It's not a rare thing to happen. The rare thing to happen was that I had to do it alone. I wasn't allowed to have my husband come in with me. I wasn't allowed to have anyone be with me while I woke up from being put under. And like I said, it's an appendicitis. It's not something that, it's not like it was heart surgery. But I was under general anesthetic and I had a tube down my throat, and it was like told to me within half an hour that this was going to be happening. And I had no one. I wasn't allowed to have anyone because of COVID. I'm double vaxxed. My husband's double vaxxed. Everyone that I love and care about is double vaxxed. The fact that people have to go through these things alone isn't okay. I have thought a lot about the people that are suffering with COVID and alone and having to FaceTime family and say goodbye. And that's the absolute extreme and the worst. And that is obviously needs to be highlighted. And then you see all the other stuff. I had a DNC done years ago. My recovery room was the exact same room as my appendicitis recovery room. When I was there the first time, there was 20 people in the beds because day surgeries. People having simple procedures that aren't life-altering, life-threatening, but need to be done. That was their recovery room. After my appendicitis, I was the only person in that recovery room. 20 beds. I was the only person. And to an anti-masker, anti-vaxxer, that's like, oh my gosh, look, it's an empty hospital. No, it's an empty recovery room for day surgery because these people need to be put on the back burner. So people that are suffering with wrist issues, knee issues, hip issues that need to have surgery, they weren't in those beds because resources need to be used elsewhere. And that's just, it's so far past your freedom. I don't think people realize everyone that they're hurting in the process. I'm a fairly strong person. When they asked me how many surgeries I had, it was like, do you have a list? Do you have like the room for me to write this? Because I've probably been surgically done, I don't even know how to say that, 15 times. I've been under the knife 15 times. Nothing cosmetic. Everything has had to be done. So I was ready. I was okay. But I'm thinking of my husband or my child or someone that's never had a procedure and then has to have this emergency procedure alone, or has to now suffer at home for years because we can't do day surgeries right now. We can't risk it. It's already a long wait. It's already insufferable. You're making people suffer for your freedom. I hope you realize what you're doing, because it's not okay. And I deserved, and all these other people deserved, someone to hold their hand. I remember as I was going under, a doctor, my anesthesiologist, his name was Dr. Kevin. He's in my heart, like hard in there forever. Because as I was falling asleep, he lifted like the mask for breathing, like the oxygen mask, and he goes, "Just close your eyes, it'll be okay. We'll see you in a few minutes." And I remember just being like, oh, that felt like family. That felt like the family that I needed that I didn't get to have. So think about other people, because if it were for the greater good, I'd cut my finger off. We need to do better.